So let's now use component composition in order to fix the prop drilling problem that we have just encountered before. And in the process, we will also find a way better solution to building layouts in React applications. And let's start by fixing the easy prop drilling problem, which is the one where we pass the movies prop into the navbar, and then from the navbar, we pass it here into the num results. So here we only have one level of prop drilling. Now, you might be wondering, how can we use component composition in order to solve this problem? Well, what if we could use the num results component right here in the app component instead of in the navbar? Then we wouldn't have to pass in this movies prop into the navbar, right? Which would then fix that prop drilling problem. So we can actually do that with component composition. So let me show you how. So here, instead of accepting the movies, let's accept children. And so this is then that empty slot that we talked about in the previous lecture. And so now here in the navbar, instead of closing it right here, let's have an opening tag and a closing tag. And then between these two, we can just grab this, place that here, and then just include those children. And that's it, actually. So give it a save. The app looks exactly the same as before, but we have eliminated the prop drilling problem, right? Because now we are using num results right here in the component where the state actually lives. So the movies state in this case. And so then we can pass it directly into the component right here, which is the one that actually needs it. So num results is not an intermediary component, just like navbar was before. And so of course then here we can finally and terminally remove it. And so this then really shows that the prop drilling has been eliminated, and all by using component composition, where we now basically composed the navbar together with these three other components here. So these three is what are becoming the children of the navbar. And so here, again, we then accept those children and simply display them here. We could also say, for example, that we do not need to display or to include the logo right here. So we could, for example, cut it here and place it here. And then it works just exactly the same as before. So this logo here is just completely stateless anyway, and it's not really relevant to the app. And so we could say that it should always be a part of the navbar. But maybe these two here can be optional. So with this, we can very easily later say that, well, maybe we don't need a search here. So remove it, and there you go. We didn't even have to touch the navbar at all. All we had to do was to come into our application, where we now have an easier way of seeing basically the overall layout of the application. Let's of course put it back, and then let's fix the worst problem of prop drilling that we also have, which is here for this movies list. So let's do the same with the main component here. And here remember that we actually need to pass the movies prop through several layers. So we pass it from app into main into here the list box. And so we can remove, again, all these intermediary steps. So here in the main, let's no longer accept the movies and instead accept children. So then let's remove the watch box from here, or actually the list box, or actually why not both of them? So let's cut them from here, say children, and then we can do the same thing as before. So here now we get rid of this. Let's close it. And then just place these two here. And we can then no longer pass the movies into the main element or the main component, because that one no longer needs it. I mean, as you know, it never even needed it in the first place. It only needed it to pass it further down the tree. But now the tree is basically built in a different way. And so then, again, this component no longer needs that prop. Nice. And so, actually, we can keep going. So we can just do exactly the same thing here to the list box, because that list box also doesn't need the movies, really. It's also just passing it down. And so, let's remove it. So, let's grab this, cut it from here. So this will now become the empty slot here inside this list box component. So remove that. Do the same thing as before. Of course, we need to close it here. And while that's taking a bit too long, let's manually reload here. And still that's not working. But yeah, the code should be correct. Let me just remove this from here now. And I will simply close the app and run it again. So it's the second time we needed to do this in this section so far, but sometimes that can happen. Well, apparently this is not the solution this time. So let's see if we have some error here. And actually, yeah, sometimes it's a good idea, as I said right in the beginning of the course, to actually read the errors here. So it says objects are not valid as a React child. So let's go back to our movie list, or to the list box, actually, which is the one that we just did something in. And yeah, the problem is actually right here. So here we were basically creating a new object, which is not necessary. All we need to do here is to really conditionally render this children prop. So give it a save, and there we go. Just reload again to get rid of the errors, and that's it. So now we are essentially directly passing the movies prop right here into the movies list from the app component. So as I just said, we are in the app component, and now, thanks to all this composition here, we can pass the movies directly into the movies list, which is in fact the only component that does actually need it. Not this one, but only this one. And of course, also this one. Great. So this is actually a really, really nice way of building layouts in React applications. So just by looking at the return JSX from the app component, we can nicely see the entire layout and also basically the entire component tree. So what we have here is indeed very similar to what we can observe right here. So we have the app, which has the navbar, which in turn has the search and num results. And we have the main, which has the list box, it has the watched box, and then that one also has some stuff in it. So here we didn't do the component composition yet, but we will do very soon. For now, I want to take a break here, and I want you to analyze this code on your own for a few minutes. So really understand the deep difference between the code that we had before and the code that we have right now. And if necessary, you can also re-watch the previous lecture in which I explained exactly what is happening as well. So again, please take now 5 or 10 minutes to do that, and then let's move on to the next video.